How's my friend James Clem doing?
Hey Todd, I like hanging out. Outside of not being in Austin, I feel like I'm almost there emotionally.
You know what? I think I'd pull some strings for you to get into the country of Texas if you wanted to make it.
I may need to do that in the future, so I'm always going to keep my options open.
I'll show you the secret handshake. I'll get you on board. Don't worry about that. James, how are you doing today? How are things flowing in your world?
I'm doing real well. I just fed my dog here at the office. He's sleeping at my feet right now, and I tell you, I've enjoyed this online bit because I it helped me with my loneliness issue professionally. And it's been great. I've learned so much. I feel like I'm connecting with the world, and thank you for being part of it with me because it's always better when we have a team approach, isn't it?
Absolutely. We've had just unbelievable guests from, all the way from the very beginning. And we've got a full lineup next week. I can't wait to share it. I mean, and if there's people out there that want to be on the show, just send me a check. I'll give you my address. No, I'm just kidding. I got to get money wherever I can. Government's giving me money. Might as well get it from people out on Facebook. But we are having a blast. And, as far as situations, everybody has different situations, whether they're coming back to a renovated practice or destroyed practice. Who knows what's happening. We need to help them along. And I think, James, in my spiritual journey through life, you've been a great influence. And, of all the people that are watching right now, what do you think is the one thing that they should be looking for right now?
Well, at least I can just only relate to how I'm processing this because, I talk to my wife. If you were to ask my wife my emotional journey right now, I have different parts of it because we're human beings. We're sensitive. As a dentist, I care about things. I was really concerned about my team, to be honest with you, when this happened because I know what happened in 2008 and how we had to pivot a little bit. And this is the unknown aspect. But yet there's a part of me with my faith and my faith with God that I know that regardless of the outcome, that my purpose is still set in life as long as I'm here. So I have to toggle between that, and that's where I get my strength and focus because I like to be busy. I found that this is the most time I've ever had off from my practice ever at one time, and I have to really stay focused because I don't sit idle very well.
No, me neither. And you and I are both very spiritual men, and we're not afraid to admit that. And not a lot of people are, but I think everybody has some sort of spirituality. And what I'd say to people out there is, whatever you think God is, whatever God is for you, now's the time to get more acquainted with your God, and He will look out after you. He's looked out for the both of us for sure. So, without going into some spiritual dissertation. Let's get back in the dental world. We interviewed a lot of people, leaders in dentistry, but then they've been dentists mainly. But we need to have people that are on the manufacturing side. And you and I are both very good friends with our next guest, Don Bell. And Don, I'm going to bring you up now here. So you're up. Look at that handsome guy.
How you
Look at
doing?
me. Yeah, I still look like I'm sort of put together, even though we're in pandemic, right?
Let
I've
me
been
finish
going to
it to do.
beard. I don't look all shaggy or anything.
Yeah, so
I'm
Don
still-
Bell is with Ivoclar Vivadent. I don't even know your position anymore. You just got elevated to something important. Like you're Grand Poobah, or you're like Vice Grand Poobah of Ivoclar Vivadent, right?
Not sure that's the exact title, but yeah, Vice President of Marketing for Digital Technologies.
Oh, good.
Yeah. And I'm approaching, July is my 20th year. July 25th will be my 20-year anniversary with Ivoclar. So
Nice.
it's been a journey as well.
So quickly. I remember when I got acquainted with you there.
Yeah, it goes quick, and you think about how long we've all known each other. It really starts to blow your mind. I mean, when you start thinking about relationships that we've developed over the years and how fortunate we are with the people that we meet, it's pretty amazing. We're really fortunate in that regard.
Don, when I look at you, I know you're a real professional at what you do with Ivoclar, and I've really enjoyed our connection, but you're also a baseball player.
I am. That's a challenge right now. So we're delayed a little bit in our season start. No tournaments this spring, and we're hoping to start here in Chicago sometime in May. So hopefully sooner than later we're back out on the field. And I think that's the optimism side of everything for all of us, right? We want to get back at normal life, whatever normal is. We want to be able to do things that we love doing. We want to enjoy our work. We want to enjoy what we do outside of work. And I think everyone's getting antsy to get back to that.
Well, that's a good segue right into our conversation, because we all want to get back on the field. And as a manufacturer, someone who sees the big picture, one thing I've learned about you is I always like to listen to you talk, because it helps me see a bigger filter of the dental world. How is Ivoclar dealing with this?
I think from day one, after this really grew into a situation where it was a global pandemic, as it turned out to be, we moved really quickly to deal with our team. We feel, as a privately held company, a family held company, we're really particular and very focused on our team first. And I think you guys have seen that, because a lot of people in our organization. We bring in great people in our organization. I think they reflect the values of the organization. So we really try to do the best we could for our team, protect them, keep them safe, keep them employed, keep them with full benefits. That was a family focus and effort, and which we greatly appreciate as a subsidiary. And as local, executive team leader on the local subsidiary, we're trying to do the same. We want our team to feel part of the organization, even though there's not a lot of activity. We still have work that we can do, but we're really now building toward coming out. So we've kind of stabilized all of our people being remote. They're all on full benefits. They all have work schedules, and they've been super resilient about dealing with the change in circumstances. And now we're working on activities to prepare to come out of the situation into more, I don't want to say more normal terms, but more back to work type activities that we can do to support the industry and support our customers that we work with. So we're on a daily basis. My schedule, if you looked at my schedule on Outlook, it's just as full probably as it was 2 months ago, which is hard to believe. But when you're preparing out to come out, it's things that we need to focus on. It's things that we need to work on to really support the new environment that we'll be in to reach our customers, like yourselves and like lab customers. It's how we work with our sales team so they can be better prepared to work in the new environment. And we're all really looking forward to moving forward. And I think from an optimistic standpoint as an organization, we see there's a lot of dentistry. This industry has always been very strong. There's a lot of dentistry to be done. And I think people will adapt to come back into the environment well. They'll adapt to the new environment, new circumstances. My personal dentist here, I had to cancel an appointment for hygiene, and we were having a conversation about, would you be skittish about coming back to the practice? And I said, absolutely not. I mean, I'm going to see my dentist. I'm making appointments to see my medical doctors here for physicals like I normally would. And to me, that's part of, getting back to the situation that we can walk back into, like I say, regular life adjusted for a new environment. And I think that's the way I view it. I think it's my view of the rest of the year, I think, is very optimistic. I think organizationally we see us getting back up on track in June and July, things returning to, I say normal, like the adjusted version of normal. But we're very optimistic about that and how the rest of the year will play out. And we feel we're going to be in a good position to do that. We have a great team. Inside our organization, externally, a lot of our reps very well. I almost don't like to refer to them as sales reps. I mean, their material expertise and processing knowledge is really extremely broad compared to most teams in the field, and they work as great ambassadors for our organization and represent our company very well, and have great relationships in the field. So they really drive our business, and we've been able to keep everyone on board, and we're excited to get back at it. So we're very optimistic on the way the rest of the year will turn out.
Don, I think one thing I've always enjoyed about your company, I've worked a lot with Ivoclar in a sense of where I appreciate a lot of the products that you have. I mean, Empress was a game changer in my practice with over half my career by now. But having been an educator and still educating, I've done a lot of field education, and your Ivoclar people are just right up there at the top. And I know you put a lot of time into your people, and it definitely shows up. And I appreciate that a lot.
I appreciate the comment. I think our team is, we've always talked about having the best team in the industry by far, and they take on responsibilities to learn so much more than probably a typical role would be, and they do a very good job with it. And we try to do everything we can to support them. So it's become a really good synergy of how we work together, and I think it translates into what you experience in the field and how we all work together to be successful. So I appreciate that. I think our whole team appreciates that comment.
Well, when I'm looking at my board here, I'm seeing you and Todd, but I think, Todd, you and I kind of got acquainted through CAD/CAM and what other material? Impress, right?
Yeah, no, that's how I got started. Just greatest material. Actually, we got started, let's be historically correct. We got started with ProCAD.
We did get started with ProCAD. When we came into the company, I was marketing manager for ProCAD. That goes back a ways.
That does. And I still have a few of the blocks in the back of the drawer just because they don't have the notch, so I can't use it in MCXL, but they're still beautiful. I mean, that is an amazing material. And going into Empress, I still use it on almost all our cosmetic cases. So you guys do a great job.
Yeah, we appreciate that. Yeah, it's a beautiful material, and we've always tried to up our game a little bit along the way with every iteration of materials.
Oh yeah, so I always think of that as a good standard. I just saw a client right before the shutdown of my first 2 Impress I did. I think it was 1991, and they were 8 and 9. At that time, I wasn't doing my own ceramics. I had a lab do that for me, and I told her at the time maybe 6, 7 years, and every time I see her now. 1991 till now, she always says, "I love these teeth." She said, "See, they're still there, right there." And I took a picture of it last time she was in, and just to show you that the margins look good. There's no stain. It wasn't a functionally compromised situation, but no, it was a game changer in my professional.
Hey, Don. We interviewed John Nosty just a little while ago. He's a big fan.
I saw that. Yes.
Yeah, what a great guy he is. He brought up something. We had an interesting discussion with him about how does a territory rep or a salesperson actually work with a dentist now? I mean, you just can't pop in the waiting room. I mean, have you guys thought about that? Are you thinking about how you're going to interact with dentists now?
Yeah, I mean, we see, and I'll take that a step further. How do you co-travel with a dealer rep to an office, right? You add another person into that mix. I mean, that probably doesn't happen either. So
right.
We're working on a variety of different ways to reach customers now. And I think there's, based on the office, like you may have a different philosophy than maybe James about who comes into the practice and under what terms. Mm-hmm. But we want to try to offer opportunities for our reps to do like these type of programs where it's a virtual lunch and learn type of program with an office, update them on what's going on, being able to send materials potentially ahead of time so they can go through the experience of something new together. More of a hybrid approach, so you could have maybe a straight connection where it's just a webinar or a conversation via electronic media, or a combination of product with electronic media. And then our hope as we go forward is that we'll be able to move as the year progresses into more, maybe they're not in the office type meetings, maybe they're local meetings at a branch or the local meetings at another facility where doctors do want to meet. And it might be under different circumstances, it might be set up differently, but we're trying to adapt to different modes of operation for our people. So they could, if you, Todd, as an example, and we're working with, say, Lori, and Lori, you want to have a really strict regimen about who comes in and out of the office. Maybe she's doing these types of calls directly, and if she has something new, she can send it ahead and kind of walk you through it, and you guys can experience the product and answer questions and move forward. So I would imagine she'll probably still be in your office. That might not have been a great example, but
that wasn't a good example because I'm very good friends with her, so she eats lunch down here all the time. She's probably in our office when she should be in other offices. So
I think we're really trying to make inroads to adapt to the circumstances, because I think everyone's going to be different, and I think it's the same in a lot of respects. You guys obviously are very well versed in technology, and I think technology has a place for offices as they come back to work too for the rest of the year. And some are going to be adamantly opposed to it and say, I just want to get my practice up and running, and some offices will be very progressive and say, I think now is a good time. I'm going to have access to money. It's going to be at low interest. I know my practice is there. I just need to be able to do more production, and I'm going to look at technology to be able to do that. So I think there's a variety of things that'll come up from this that are going to be just based on individuals that we'll adapt to as best we can and provide the best service we can for the office.
That's pretty interesting that you bring that up, because that was exactly what we were talking about in the last conversation. Is this a time for a dental office to start thinking about integrating technology, or is it going to be so much of a fear that we shouldn't do anything? Like we mentioned earlier, like Ford, they've offered, like, I don't know, it's like 18 months, no interest, and you don't pay the 3 months, and then Ford pays the next 3 months. I mean, it's almost like too good to be true. Yeah. Maybe this is a good time to start getting into technology.
Yeah, I think there's, I used this analogy a little bit earlier in a couple meetings that we were having internally. I think if you asked or polled 10 dentists right now and said, all right, given the circumstances of what you're going through, would you consider investing in technology and capital equipment or not? I think you're going to get a split. You're going to probably get some number, maybe it's half or more, that say, no, what I want to do is bring my patients back, get my practice up and running to some stable position, whatever that is for them as individuals, and then I'll consider what that looks like down the road. And I think you're going to get some percentage of that 10, maybe it's less than 5, maybe it's 3 or 4, that say, okay, I was thinking about it because the technology's advanced so much and it's gotten so good to send even digital impressions to labs or maybe fabricate in office, that say, this is really a good time. I'm going to get access to small business loans, to your point, Todd, with really aggressive and open terms in terms of what you can do. And they might say, now is the time. I was already thinking about it. Now is a really great opportunity for me to purchase and integrate it into my practice. And I can probably negotiate either rates or terms of the loan a little bit better to suit me, so I can integrate it with no risk. And I think you're going to get a percentage for sure that will do that. So I see it almost as a split, though. I don't think there's going to be a middle ground. I think you're either going to say no way or absolutely, and I'm going to go. And but I do see opportunity for that. I think it's a fit. I mean, think about your practices coming back. If you wanted to add a day to take on more production, you can do it, right? You can do the cases, you can finish them, seed them in one day. The practice can actually complete the restoration and bill for it in one visit instead of 2. I mean, or multiple visits if they're going through a traditional process. So you can actually improve your capacity significantly just by opening up another set of hours. And I think for offices that are really set up that way, I think they're going to bounce back a lot quicker. That would be my impression of it anyway, because they have the capacity and the ability to do that.
To be flexible. I know with your leadership in Ivoclar and your analytical mind, you kind of have us down, right? As dentists, you kind of know our temperaments and how we make decisions. And we've seen that in the response that we've had here online is, how are you going to process this back? Are you going to stay conservative? Mm-hmm. I know those that really move forward with their practice do take a little bit of risk. And what type of risk would you advise us taking right now? Is something that's different maybe than we've ever done as a profession before?
That's a really good question. I think we've always been, maybe over a period of time, and things have gone economically very well, especially in recent years. But even going back from the time we got out of really the financial downturn in 08, 09, in most recent years, things have really been positive. And when they don't, you have an opportunity now to change things. And it might be how you talk to your patients internally about what their opportunities are. It might be how you market to clinicians or to patients, about expanding your base, because now you're looking at maybe opportunities to say, I have technology that, I use it and it works in my practice and it does very well. Maybe I need to be a little bit more proactive in communicating and marketing more actively, social media wise or others, to make more patients aware, because patients are still going to have challenges and things they need to do and want to do, and I think they'll find a way to do it. And as we've seen, the more technology as it's been advancing, is you can show a patient immediately what you can do in your practice, and I think it's a wow factor. Patients get, I think, excited. They see what the technology can do, and they assume it's whatever you're going to do from a dentistry standpoint is way better. So I think that can be a possibility. I also think because of other technologies that have entered the space. We see printing being way more prevalent in the space. And Dr. Nasty, I'm not sure if he touched on removable from a standpoint. We get a ton of questions now on removable and how it can be incorporated into a practice, because it's a way to expand a practice that maybe wasn't there before, wasn't feasible, and now suddenly is, a possibility, or a really good possibility to do. So I do think those are ways that, depending on how comfortable you are, instead of just looking at how do I get myself back up to where I was, maybe it's let's take a look at what I was doing and see what I can do to really move my practice at another level. And maybe it's how I market, how I communicate, how aggressive I am in that space. Because in the case of you guys especially, your work is spectacular. I mean, cases that you guys post is so good and high quality. And at a broader level, I'm sure you could probably grab and take on more patients if you really wanted to, and market it better, or expand the practice. And maybe this is an opportunity to do that. And I'll give you a perspective of that too. We look at, even as a manufacturer of product, this has given us a chance, or you could say it's forced us, you can look at it a couple of different ways, to what do we want to do? All right, things have changed. We've been kind of pushed to the edge of time and money and resources, and what do we want to do? And it forces you to think differently about what you had done in the past. Do I want to continue to do certain types of activities, or should we just go all in on one or two things and really focus on those? And it kind of pushes you in that direction a little bit. And that can be uncomfortable, but I think it can also take you to another place that's way better than where you were. And that's the upside of it, right? This is, we will come back from this and come out of this. And, if you look at it from how do I move forward from this in a positive way, I think practices can be spectacularly successful coming out of this.
Donna, you know I love you, right?
Yeah.
But I'm going to ask you a question right now, because you're a man that knows what's coming in the future, and I know Ivoclar is always thinking future focus. And I was thinking, Todd, this is a platform that you can share some new things that you're working on that maybe hasn't been heard before. And I was just thinking maybe there's an invitation for you there. And how do you feel about me asking?
Yeah,
that?
Don, what's coming up? What are you guys going to give us when we come out of this sleeping bag?
It would help. It's a little tidbit of something that would just make us have excitement.
Hey, I know James, if he doesn't say anything, that he's keeping it under his lip. Because Ivoclar, they come out with stuff all the time.
It's what you say and what you don't say, it still has the same meaning.
All right, so if he's not going to tell us anything, I'm going to start guessing. I'm going to start throwing things out and start rumors. So there you go, Don.
That's an interesting way to approach it. I feel like that's what happens every day now in every walk of life. What's new? Boy, I mean, from I'll say immediate, and then maybe a little bit further down the road. Immediate things that we're really excited about, and it may be a good fit for offices, and it may not. But at a laboratory space, I think it's exciting for sure. We've created a removable system that's it creates a beautiful denture, which I've been in this industry 20 years, and removable was never a really cool area or a sexy area. It was always, great work and highly detailed and high quality work. Now it's become digital. It's become highly, extremely accurate, highly aesthetic, highly productive. That's going to be coming up for us as we exit and go back to work. That's going to be our first primary launch into the marketplace. And it can be done on our machines. It's milled in a disc form. It could be done in a practice. It could be done virtually anywhere. And the outcome is, it's based on our foundational materials that we do for base material and teeth, and it's called Ivotion. It's a really impressive removable system, and I think it's going to do exceptionally well. And it fits so many needs in the marketplace today, including the aesthetic component, but also the production and efficiency. And I'll say further down the road a little bit, I can only tell you that we are extremely fortunate, and that our position in the CAD/CAM area has always been strong, and we work diligently hard to continue to improve that, and that will continue. Our goals down the road are now you're trying to get into the very specific aspects of what happened. We're trying to make that process of what you guys do on your machines on the Syrup technology that faster, quicker, and more efficient than ever before. without sacrificing strength properties. And I know that's everybody's goal in areas right now. You're seeing it with materials on the market, but we are definitely moving in the same. We want to be able to make it as efficient as possible and as productive without sacrifice. We've always been believers that if you don't cut corners to go faster and give up 30% of your strength or whatever the case is, that to me is not an innovation. It's a shortcut. And I think organizationally we believe in that as well. So we want to develop great materials that work and can be significantly faster than they currently are right now in your practices. And if we can do that, I think everybody gets extremely more productive and more efficient than ever. And
all right, so if we're going to get faster, are you referencing equipment?
I could be referencing a lot of
stop it.
That's the beauty of that open-ended comment. Is that
I know it's
materials, process, and a variety of things.
A variety of things. Perfect diplomat here.
We're being careful, Don, because there's things you've shared with both Todd and I that we can't talk about, and right.
Sure.
and yet, on the other hand, we're all excited about new products, and I work with a lot of different companies, but my one relationship I've had has always been really strong with Ivoclar because across the board you've had a really good track record.
Yeah. I appreciate that. Yeah, and I will say from our perspective, mine personally, one of the reasons why we love working with certain individuals. And you guys are a really good example of this. And we're fortunate. We have other great relationships as well. People that are very direct and candid. And both of you have been that. You've always been, when we show you something or present you something, if it doesn't work in your hands or it doesn't work to meet the requirements that you have or what you're looking to achieve, you tell us. And I've always said this to you both and as individuals and together, your job isn't to tell me what I want to hear, right? When we ask you for feedback, my job is to give you a product that you love, right? And your job is to love it and be able to talk about it if you love it. And it's really simple. And I think, James, you probably never believed that years ago when I first told you that, but it's true. I mean, there are things that we have that are very good and some things that are okay and some things that probably could be better. And our job is to make products that you love. And that's what we strive to do.
You would say that you have found both Todd and I are quite candid.
Very candid, yeah. And I appreciate that, though. I really do, because I know where you stand. I always know where you stand on materials and products and everything else, and I try to do the same. I don't think I'm very difficult to figure out most of the time. I think I'm pretty transparent.
So what's the next square material that's going to go in my MCXL? How about you tell me that?
Well, I'm hoping the next square material you put in your MCXL when you get back to work is an Emax block. That's what I'm hoping is the case, and then that continues to be the case for the foreseeable future.
One of the things you just mentioned just now is, and it's mainly the reason why I've been such a big Emax fan and Ivoclar fan, is that you guys don't cut corners, and there's a lot of history of where you've held your ground on different levels. And one of the ones, and I think James can talk about this, is your zirconia system that we can run through chairside. And it's not the fastest. It isn't, but it is the prettiest. And what I love about your zirconia that I can run through block form is that shade is going to be similar to Emax or Empress or Tetric. And so your level of standard of not cutting corners makes it clinically better for me, even though it may take a little bit more time. What do you think, James? You did a webinar this morning for their zirconia thing.
I can tell you, I'm getting some great results with Zircad Multi, and I'm really fascinated with it. And that was my presentation this morning because I'm a big infiltration person, even on the multi blocks, because I want to internalize colors, and then I want to polish it and place it in. And I'm moving it forward in the smile zone, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Zirconia is moving forward, and there's times and places for it. And we know the industry as a whole, that's the prescriptions that go to the lab. Over 50% of prescriptions to the lab are now monolithic zirconia. And I know in the CAD/CAM world, it's going that direction as well. So I am excited about it. I'm looking for more ways to make it more aesthetic and layering it if we need to. And it's just, I love the craft of dentistry. And so to me, even though I'm a one appointment person in a lot of my cases, it's really not about CAD/CAM. It's about getting the job done the way I want it and building my skill set so I know I'm going to be better next time I provide care for someone. So
I appreciate that. And I think back to that point, and you and I have had this discussion in the past, James, about what the output is, right, of the restorations. And Zircad might not be the fastest, but it looks really nice. We blend two powders together, and it looks highly aesthetic. We've had this conversation about people don't want and don't strive to be mediocre. It just doesn't happen. I mean, the reason why Nike exists as a company is because, and other organizations like that, is people strive to be something better, faster, stronger, in this case, maybe create more aesthetic outcomes. And I think that's what we try to do. We want to help facilitate that for you as clinicians and for laboratories, is strive to be the best you can and provide the best for your patients in performance as well as aesthetics. So, yeah, I think we're very much aligned in that regard, and sometimes it's a trade-off. We can't quite go as fast, but I think we get a better outcome, and
sure.
we're happy with that fight to fight from that standpoint as a manufacturer.
Well, James and I are both in the CEREC world, as you know, but you guys have your own chairside system. Do you want to talk a little bit about that? I mean, it's always the talk of the town. So, tell us about your milling unit and everything.
Yeah, it's been, I'll tell you, it's been an interesting journey getting to the point where we got to with the unit and getting it to market. We partner with a great partner at 3Shape for the front end scanner and their Design Studio software, and it has some unique features to it. Mill's really beautiful restoration in terms of detail and marginal accuracy and smoothness. Unfortunately, we really did our first big release, and it was the first part of this year, right before the pandemic began. And I think Sirona had a similar timing issue with the release of Prime Mill with their system as well as right before. So for us, it's continuing to move forward with that as we come out of the pandemic. But we're excited about the design, the features of it, what it can do. We're evolving what it can do from a capability standpoint. But we like what it does from an output, what it mills in terms of quality and detail, accuracy. It really fits, I think, what we're doing, and we think it mills lithium disilicate exceptionally well. And the combination with the 3Shape front end has been very well received. So I think it's unique. It's a little different, obviously, than some of the other systems on the market. We partner with Planmeca as well as with Dentsply Sirona on systems, and more recently with Amann Girrbach, and they're all very good. We like our system in terms of how it functions and really what it produces as far as an output. The biggest comments we get on it are always design. It's the design of the unit, right? It's the envelope size and the look and the feel of it and how compact it is.
It's very like Apple iPhone looking.
It's got a neat. It's got yeah.
John, last time I went into the Apple store, I was looking for the name.
Yeah, it's got a little bit of that look and feel to it. So it's compact in that regard, and that's probably been a unique aspect. But the output is really what we like the most about it. And like I said, we're fortunate. We have great milling partners that have worked with us to make the best possible outcomes with their units as well, and they all mill exceptionally well. Lithium disilicate, as you know, is not easy to mill by any stretch of the imagination. So resins are easier, even glass, like Empress is a little easier, zirconia is easier, lithium disilicate's a bit of a challenge. So everyone's adapted to that, working with us, which has been great. So now we feel as more units go to the market, if a doctor buys the system from, one of our partnered companies that we work with in Vivadent milling strategies, we know the crown is going to look really nice, the detail is good, the accuracy is very good, the margins are clean, like it's a consistency element of that. So we're excited overall about that. We're excited about coming out of this with our mill, obviously, as well.
Yeah, so what is Ivoclar going to give us when we get out of this?
When you say us, do you mean you and James?
Yeah, exactly. Just us two. That's all that counts here. No, I'm just kidding. Hey, we had another conversation also. As far as your equipment goes, is there going to be like any type of specials for people to like maybe get into the technology? Because this seems like the right time, right?
Yeah, we're actually exploring that right now. Our initial launch partner for our system is Patterson Dental, and we're working on programs with them as we walk out of this situation with the pandemic and back to normal with what we can do. Like I said earlier, I think there's an opportunity. We want to make it as easy as possible for people that are interested to get into the technology. And I think it's probably a great opportunity. And some people, I think, will really benefit as they step into technology now and then look 1 or 2 years down the road, they're going to look back and go, it was the right time. You know, I think that's what's going to happen. You're going to end up looking back on it and go, this was the right time to do it. It's great technology, regardless of whose system you're getting. It all works really well. The output is great. The materials are very good. And I was able to get in on it early when I had a great opportunity with financing and loans and such. So we want to try to make it as easy as well coming out of this with Patterson. So we're actively working on that now.
You know, James, I can't get an answer out of him. He did not want to fill in the details of that. Why don't you ask him what the next material is coming out? Come on, buddy, give us some meat.
Hey, Don is a man of wisdom. I've found that out through the years, and he understands the flow. And I do have a question in regards to materials.
I also realize if I tip my hand, I might not be here next year when this webinar.
Yeah, I don't want to get you fired. So yeah, I'm just giving you.
One of the lectures I did at the CDA was on the digital platform and how that's driving materials. As a company, Ivoclar, where do you see the future? You know, you were really strong with the pressable, and that was Impress and also lithium disilicate. So where do we see the future going? Because I know some of the lab technicians who are my mentors,
Don, are you there?
I am.
Yeah, James, you're out, buddy. We lost your
a little bit.
sound.
We lost a little bit of sound.
Okay.
There you go.
There we go. I think your dog was wagging the tail and knocked out.
It sounded like a helicopter, and I didn't hear anything here, but who knows? Maybe. But what I was asking Don was, you know, the way we're going to manufacture products in the future, would you say it's going to be about either machining or printing?
I think printing. I think as we've looked at technologies, and we're releasing a printer this year as well, and developing materials for it, and it'll be in steps. So we're doing splints and models and PMMA, things like that to start with, and then we'll start to advance that and build on it. But it offers some really great efficiencies to be able to print, and I think it offers customization in one restoration that's unique. And it's difficult to mill. Milling hard materials, especially when you're trying to get strength properties, means a couple things. One, it's either really hard and you've got to mill it and grind it down and try to get the best restoration you can, or mill it in a green state and then have to fire it. And we joke about this internally sometimes, but none of you, I'm sure, really want a furnace in your office. I mean, I love the fact that you have our furnaces, that people use them, you do as well as others, but if you could create restorations without having to post-fire or fire post-mill, I think everyone would be much happier. So that's challenging when you get into really strong materials. And printing allows you some flexibility, I think, to create great physical properties and maybe a post-cure process that's quicker, faster, even integrated into the printing process, and really great customization of the restorations as well.
Don, you just shared a lot with us. Thank you in the delicate way you did that. I do have another question in follow-up on that. So if I were having a dream about my dentistry at night and I were imagining how it would be perfect in my hands, I'm going to scan. I'm going to have an intelligence in design. I'll have an intelligence in measuring the optics and the shade, everything you want about the restoration. So that's all in the software, and it prints out a restoration that drops in and has a really nice match. Is that what you're telling me Ivoclar is working on?
Yeah, I think that's a very nice way to frame that.
Nice.
I think that's a definitive goal of what we want to try to accomplish. I think I'd say a lot of the pieces are, if you even think about technology that you guys work on today, think about how far the scanning and milling and design technologies have advanced in the last 5 years even. Yeah. And some may be minor, like the design software's gotten extremely refined and very fast. And it's moving even quicker than that, I think, as we go forward. So I think the opportunities for that, and even, we think of individual pieces, like we released that app IvoSmile, and IvoSmile is a device to show a patient in 5 seconds how you can change your smile.
Yeah.
That eventually, going from that to a design to a fabrication, will be a workflow, and that's from a wow factor to a patient. You can show them, this is what you're going to look like in 5 seconds, and all right, let's make it happen, and I can go make those for you and fabricate them really efficiently and customize for your smile.
like this, Don. So I have another question. This is really a good flow of information. Thank you. So would you say that's probably going to be available before I turn 70?
I mean, things are going really fast, so I think it's possible. Yeah. I mean, I think what's the challenge?
You know how old James is? You better be careful how you answer that question.
Things are going very fast. In general, they're going very fast. I think the biggest restriction that will get overcome, will 100% get overcome, is when you print today, in general terms, you can get restorations that have strength and durability, but usually not to cycle loading testing type things, where repetitive wear and tear under heat or pressure, the materials they don't hold together as well in the printing process. And I think that's really, that's why you see one-ofs, like when you fabricate restoration, or maybe not restorations, but if you fabricate like model pieces that go together or prototypes for doing limited runs of something. I mean, you can print a car, right? You can make it run, but you may not be able to run it for more than a couple runs before it stops running with the part degradation. So I think once that will get solved, because it's like any other technology. Somebody will develop, and companies will develop materials to address that, and then I think all bets are off, because then you can customize it, you can make it look however you want, and that will continue to refine and shape the dental industry for sure.
Don, this is the fourth part of this question, and you're just really feeding me right now. So Todd and I are beta testers, and we would be happy to be testing with you, right?
I will definitely keep that in mind.
You know what the best beta tester answer to another beta tester is? Who says I'm not?
That's a good point. Very good point.
No, I'm not. I'm just kidding. But...
That was great, Don. Thanks for playing along with it.
Yeah. So, James, I think I've got a question for both of us to ask Don, or maybe a directive. If you had, what kind of, I know we've got zirconia, lithium disilicates, and composites, and glass, and everything. What would be your dream material in which category? James Clem, you think about that as I give you mine.
Okay.
So my personal belief, and zirconia is great. I mean, I think it fits a lot of niche for dentists, for strength, and some cosmetics. And I think it's easier for manufacturers because the material is cheap, right? I mean, you can get that very easy, the way they mine it. So it's a very accessible type material, and the manufacturing is good. But I really think one of the categories that we don't go into anymore are composite resins. I really think there's a lot of opportunity in that. Do you think that Ivoclar Vivadent would be open to expanding into that market?
Yes. So when you look at where we are today with TetraCAD, it's unique. You can modify that material to do more. It can be done, and we're starting to learn more about our own material. We've been very deliberate and very limited in terms of how we indicated initially, but as we learn more and more about the material, we're seeing how much more beneficial it can be and what else it can be used for. We're seeing much better durability. We're not seeing the same debond rates that other materials have experienced. That might be to our bonding protocol. It might be to a combination of that and the material. But one of the benefits of resins as a general category, and when you ask about ideal materials, I think my ideal material, if I was looking at it, is something that is highly biocompatible, it wears well and wears naturally, and can be easily fabricated or easily processed without post-milling fabrication. We'll stick in the milling technology for now. And if you can do that, if we can get to that point, I think that really takes chairside milling at least to another level as far as what some doctors run into. They don't want to fire. They see it as, I don't want to be a lab. I don't want to characterize restorations. I don't want to even maybe have to do design. But I think if you can take that out and provide better alternatives to that, whether it be in a high-strength glass, like where lithium disilicate fits, or a resin material, or some combination, I think that would be very appealing. We just want to make sure that how we indicate the product for use is highly robust and durable and doesn't cause challenges. I mean, we've lived through products that haven't gone as well, so we know what that's like. And you know, you live through a couple back to back like we did when I first started, and it doesn't leave you. And I'm sure it doesn't leave you guys either when you experience it in your practice. So,
and that's just part of the journey. Well, Todd, I want to thank Don for coming on. He's always a great interview, and Don, I really enjoy our discussions from time to time because it's, you know, we go deep, and I think we both have really good passion about what we do, and I'm glad we've been able to intersect our acquaintances through time, and we really appreciate you coming on today. And
yeah, thank you for having me. It's been fun
with us on this, and our goal is to keep expanding here, and actually talking about this clinical dentistry, because I'm a clinical geek, actually has made me feel better. So thanks for the
yeah. Well, good. It should. I mean, I think we're all moving forward. I refer to it now as I think for us as an organization, we've gotten through getting our people more comfortable and stable, and now we look ahead. And looking ahead is way better than being worried about what's going to happen and what if we never come out. This is it's a different mindset. It's how do we move forward and how do we grow together. So we're excited. We're excited about the future.
We grew today, didn't we, Todd?
We did, man. We had two great guests. Don Bell from Ivoclar Vivadent. Thanks, my brother.
Thank you.
We respect you, and we're really glad that you're on our team for sure. Thanks, bro.
Thank you. Thanks for having me on. I appreciate it.
Hey,
Thanks.
Take care. Be safe now.
All right.
Hey, James. Yeah, what a great day. Don Bell is, man, you should have hammered him a little bit more.
You know, Don. Okay, Todd. Don's.
I'm just kidding.
Don, he's still watching. So I know this.
He's still on.
I'm listening.
We are, so we just have to accept
No,
that.
That's okay. Well, so today we had a good day. Tomorrow, man, we have it really good. We have quite the dichotomy tomorrow, Friday. So we have let's just call him the godfather of CAD/CAM dentistry.
Mark Morin.
We have Mark Morin coming on, and you and I both know him very well. Great personality. I have a lot to give to him.
I want to ask him where he gets his energy, because somehow whenever I see Mark, I smile. I've seen him off and on through the years, and there was a convention a while back. He came up and tapped me from the back. I wasn't expecting to see him, and he just looks at me, and we just start smiling at each other. So I'm looking forward to the smile tomorrow. And then who else?
We have Christine Adland up in your part of the neck of the woods.
Yeah, she's a class act.
Yeah. So, all right, very good. So we will be signing off today. Thank you for everybody that was watching today. We love you very much. And James, you finish it up. Thanks, bro.
Yeah, be safe. Keep your hearts in a good place, and stay constructive with your focus, and you'll be better off when you get out of this shutdown. So stay safe. Love you guys. Thanks for watching. Bye. Peace.
Thank you.